Well, good evening, everybody, tonight. It's Daisy Ribbett here tonight, again, with another happy story for you. More of a silly story, but it's kind of an important one to me. Um, but I am wearing a pretty dress today, so I figure I'll get up, show you what I'm wearing, because I know, well, a lot of you want to just watch this for looking at the costumes, and I won't make all those people wait around or fish for where it is on the video. So we'll start with that. I hope you're enjoying that part. It's always fun to show off things like that. And, it's another one I've made myself. As the Hecker's Big Poofy Sleeves, so I'm well fluffed out there. And like all things I've made, I did hand sew everything because I may own two sewing machines, but it's just something fun about sitting there and I go in and out, in and out, in and out. Um, peaceful and all that fun jazz. Now, tonight's story is partially pretty much all about me coming out or me getting cummed out by someone. Well, let's start with a little backstory. I'll try not to get too lost in all this because I don't want to make this story a 10-hour story. But I do kind of want to put some details there just to add into the fun. I grew up in a very small town, as I've said before. About 1,400 and some people when I was a kid. I had T-shirts from the Centennial whenever we had, well, a Centennial, and it had like 1,439 people at the time was in the city. Like, the town. Wow, that's it. No wonder it felt like such a little podunk. And I was in a very Christian home. My mother was very big in the church, and so we had that to deal with. I went to a Christian high school because of issues with cleaning chemicals and allergies, um, and well, you know, that was fun. I had girls that I fawned over in high school. I always gave a lot of energy towards the relationships. They never reciprocated like at all. I felt like for 4 years I was just pushing out there and nothing was even being nice back. I do things and get no real result. After college, 2 years was straight of I was working almost a full-time job while going to school, so I didn't have time to try and get a girlfriend during then. Shortly after college, I did have a girlfriend for about a year, and it didn't actually work out too well. That was a fun ordeal. And maybe about a year after that's when this actually started. I'd been living away from home for quite a while at this point. I came back to see my mother for something. It was, nice. I was a good kid. I went and visited my mom. I still do occasionally, but not as often as I'd like. A little too far away now. But I went and I was visiting mom, and I walked up and gave her a hug, and she's like, "I just want to know, are you gay? I mean, it's okay if you're gay. I just wanted to let you know it's okay. I still love you if you're gay." I was like, at the time, I didn't even know. And I was like, no, no, mom, it's okay. It's okay. I like boobs. And I just said that because I kind of was brought up to know my role was I needed to get a wife, make babies, make more of me. I mean, I'm a third. You're supposed to make then a fourth and a fifth and so on. So I had still had the intention I was gonna have to get a wife and make babies because that's what you're supposed to do. That so far was about to not that train was about to not get out of the station any further because my mother had just effectively outed me to being gay to, well, me. I didn't know. um, so a few weeks had passed, and eventually I just came to realize, I have not had any positive interactions towards the concept of female. I did kind of really like the concept of the boy stuff and males in general, so I kind of figured out I was gay. um, and after that, I actually actively dated a couple of guys. I did come back to my mother and tell her at some point, okay, I guess you were right. I guess I was gay. I didn't even know. And she was like, yeah, I knew. Like, how did my mom know before I knew? So, uh, the story keeps going on here. I did have a couple of boyfriends. Not a lot of them for a long period of time, but enough that you start to get to know someone. You have some fun. You got to eat. Um, you do things. You experiment. I definitely learned I liked being gay, and you get a few key words you can play with so that friends can remember happy times with you that kind of in code. One of the key words here is maple syrup. One of my friends, I every time I see him, I make sure to say the words maple syrup. And well, at least it makes us both smile and or blush, and that's the important part. Um, uh, Now, eventually, I did settle down with Autumn as opposed to just, well, dating, because I was happily dating before I met him. Met a few different guys, tried to see if they were the right person for me. They weren't. I don't think I was ever in a relationship that I ended that it was not a mutual decision that we basically were like, oh, yeah, it's fun to hang out with you. We're both fun to be around, but I don't see us as a couple. And I don't have a single male counterpart that I was with that I don't want to spend time with still. They're all really nice guys. Um, Funny that. And the one girlfriend I had, I probably want to do everything I can to avoid her. Courtesy laugh. Okay. But I eventually ended up with Autumn. And, well, I did tell Dad at some point because that was harder. Because tell Mom, she told me, so she knew before I did. Dad, I wanted to break it to him easily. I let him soften into the concept, but he did know at some point. Um, and then I brought Autumn home for Christmas one year. They both knew ahead of time. So did my sister. My sister had known Autumn for quite a while at that point. And we were in my parents' house doing the gift thing. Just a side note, because of work schedules, my Christmas with my parents is never on Christmas. It's usually somewhere in January. Uh, but they keep the tree up because, well, Mom would probably keep the tree up all year long if she had a choice. She likes all the lights. Um, but at the time, my grandmother was still alive, my father's mother. She lived down the street and a block over from where my parents lived. So When we were well into the process of that visit, Dad went down to get Grandma. She can drive, but she preferred to have someone drive her because she was getting a little older. She died at the age of 92, so I mean, she definitely made it up there. So Dad went down and got her, brought her into the house. She saw me, she saw Autumn, and she looked right at my dad and told him, "Take me home." And we thought we did bad. Uh, Dad had to take Grandma home right away. All she'd done was come in and see us, and she had to leave. Um, Fortunately, she didn't stay gone. She was only gone for a little while, and then she came back. Uh, because she didn't know Autumn was going to be there, she had to go home. Not because she didn't want to see him, but because she felt bad immediately. She didn't have a present for him. Uh, so Grandma had insisted to go home so that she could get a present for the person she quickly figured out wasn't just my buddy that was coming to visit with me. She kind of figured out he was my other half. This is before we actually got married. It wasn't legal yet. But she had to go home to get a present to give to my husband. She thought that was important. My grandmother was awesome. Uh, and she really liked Autumn. We really all got along well. She was so happy that I'd found someone in my life, especially someone as nice as him. Uh, and it was important that when Grandma did pass, that he did come with me to the funeral, and because he loved her, he grew to really get a relationship with her over just a few years. Sad thoughts. Well, a few months after that, Uncle Dick also passed away, and we found out how much he didn't like us because he found out that I had a boyfriend. And his wife specifically told him, "You are not allowed to preach to them about how they're wrong." At Grandma's funeral, um, I Michael was Elon was my friend. He was my buddy. Everybody just referred to him calmly and discreetly as my buddy. Now, having found out how Uncle Dick had seen us and thought of us as people, when it came to his funeral, Autumn did not want to go. And I understand. I was going for my family. I did not need him to go for me for the mourning process. Because a funeral is for the people that are there, not for the person that isn't there anymore. So he didn't want to go, and I understood personally. I didn't want to go either, uh, but I did it for them. Um, and now that Uncle Dick was out of the picture, it wasn't so much "where's your buddy" to "where's your husband." Uh, Over time, everybody apparently knew. I didn't specifically go out and tell everyone, but word from here to there eventually does pass on to everyone, and they've learned that that's not going away, and it definitely isn't going away. um, and Autumn and I did actually officially get married about 6 years ago now in July, so it's official. We're stuck. And it kind of means I'm perma-gay. I'm stuck being gay because I'm monogamous and I love the patoots out of that little fox. Okay, well, this was supposed to be a short one, but probably turned out longer than I thought. Um, so I hope you've been all good little bunnies. I hope you enjoyed your story time tonight. Thank you for watching, and well, have a good evening.
Mhm.